Today we're going to focus on 3 strategies you can use to make the STEM activities more engaging. We're going to watch staff in several different out-of-school time programs as they try to create engaging experiences. Then, you're going to devise your own strategy that fits you and the children you work with. Hi, I'm Carson, and I'm looking forward to today's discussion. I think it really helps to see how other people address the same challenges we face in our programming.
And I'm Alyssa. Before we try to address the challenges of keeping all the children engaged in the activities you're leading, I think we need to figure out exactly what the problem is. Find a piece of paper and something to write with. We're going to do a bit of brainstorming. Why do you think children are not engaged? Why do they not want to join? Why do they leave before the end of the activity? Let's take a few minutes for everyone to write down their thoughts and talk. What is the real problem we're dealing with? Pause the video for your discussion. We'll continue after you defined this problem for your group. Thanks for taking the time to think about what the real problem is. Next, we're going to share 3 strategies and watch some videos of how staff in different programs use these strategies.
The first strategy is to connect the activity to the real world. Give learners a realistic problem to solve, introduce them to someone who does this as a career, or build your activity based on things that are part of their daily lives in their school or community.
The second strategy is to make collaboration part of the activity. After school is a great time to build social skills, so activities where children can socialize and learn together can be fun.
The third strategy is to give youth more control of the situation. This strategy reminds us that our role should be to observe and guide the process, not control it. This also means letting youth solve problems on their own. You can provide guidance and support, but don't solve the problem for them.
All right, so far we've tried to really define what the problem is, and we have 3 strategies that other people have found useful. Now, let's see what this actually looks like when you're working with children.
Let's listen to how Sophie introduced an engineering design challenge to children in her summer camp. Pay attention to her verbal and nonverbal communication. What does she do to make the activity engaging?
So our animals that we're building toys for, the meerkats and the raccoons, they are going to be we're going to be using boxes, and we're going to make the boxes really interesting for them. So your job is you're going to decide if you want to build for the raccoons or the meerkats. I'm going to explain a little bit about each one, and then you get to build something really amazing, and then we're going to give them to the zookeepers to put in their enclosures, and then we get to watch the animals find them and open them up and climb into them.
Which of the 3 strategies was Sophie using? On your paper, make some notes about anything you liked about how Sophie presented the activity. Did you think the way she talked about the activity was engaging?
Honestly, I think she had a bit of an advantage because she had real raccoons for the kids to watch. That's pretty engaging on its own. How about an activity that might be a bit boring on its own? Let's see how Jason introduces building foil boats.
You guys only have 1 piece of aluminum foil to build this ship. The key is to figure out how we are going to shape our ships. So I want everybody to get into groups of 2. I want Michael and Caesar, Brenda and Larissa. We are going to be starting the activity with the agreement.
This activity is not quite as exciting, right? Which of the 3 strategies is Jason using? Make some notes about anything you liked about how he presented the activity. Now, let's jump to the end where the boats are ready to be tested. This could get messy with lots of teams, boats, and water. How does Jason keep using this idea of collaborating to reduce the chaos as they test their boats?
How can we be respectful while other people are testing their boats?
We're gonna be at where we're sitting at right now.
While other people are testing the boats, please stay seated. As a group, we're all going to be counting together, just to make sure we're holding everybody accountable. What kind of shape do you guys use?
It's flat and the water is it's
Wavy, so
Yeah.
it'll probably go up with it.
Okay, so you think that'll work with the waves?
yeah.
So here's your guys' marbles. 17, 18, 19.
What did Jason do throughout this activity to make it engaging? Note any ideas you might want to use on your paper.
Creating opportunities to solve problems in a group or in pairs is a good strategy. It is important to keep the group small so no one is bored. It's much harder to get children engaged again if they've gotten bored or feel left out.
Encouraging youth to talk to each other and solve problems together also helps build connections and helps them learn from each other's experiences. I like the energy in the room when everyone is working together and talking together.
Here's another approach. Let's listen as Molly introduces an activity where students design a structure to withstand an earthquake. How does she make sure everyone is engaged?
Somebody's gonna be the geologist, and they're gonna make your soil and kind of give recommendations of your structure based on the soil. One person's gonna be the architect, and they're gonna make sure that the design of the building is great. They're gonna draw it out, make sure the plan is really solid. And the structural engineer is going to be building it. The geologists are gonna go over with Katie, and you're gonna make your soil.
How you introduce an activity is critical to creating engagement. We've seen 3 different people do that now. What do you like about Molly's introduction? Make notes on your paper of any ideas you want to use as you are introducing an activity. Let's take a look at the middle part of this activity. Everyone on the team has a role, and Molly is working with some of the geologists from different teams about what they are going to create for their team. As you watch it, think about what Molly is doing to keep youth engaged.
Geologists, come talk to us about your soil type.
So really hard. Yeah, just go through, but put your finger there and just let it. Whoa,
That's because every time you touch it.
And then the architect, you're gonna have to start drawing and designing, okay?
I have an idea that we can do 5 on each wall, like three across, and then 2 to connect both of them. Because we just need the structure.
What makes this activity engaging? Which of the 3 strategies was Molly using?
I like the strategy of making the learning more engaging and relatable to youth by illustrating how the activity is connected to STEM careers. I like encouraging learners to envision themselves in these roles. I've got one more video I want to share. This one jumps right into the middle of the activity where Dave, a carpenter who works in a makerspace, is working with a child who is struggling. Pay attention to how Dave supports him in solving the problem on his own. As you watch, notice what Dave says as the boy is on the ladder. Dave knows this design is not going to work. What does he do when he knows it is going to fail as soon as he puts it on the track?
So do you want to start with one of these pieces that holds your axle? Okay. Well, you had it before, all right? You're already at that. You already got to that point, right? But we need something to hold this so it'll spin, right? And that's why we made these pieces. What do you think's gonna happen?
I think it's going to fall.
Okay. So do you want to fix it before it falls,
Fix.
or change your design, or do you want to try it?
I want to try.
All right. What do you think?
Fell.
Well, all right. So maybe we should look at what your car is gonna ride on. Maybe you should look at the track. So let's try it again. But let's see if we can get the wheels on the track. Because in design, you have to sometimes stick to your parameters or else your client gets upset. So here's the track. Let's try it here. So now what? Okay, we want the wheels on this part of the track. So, what do you think of that? Ah.
What did you think of Dave's approach? Did it work? Did the boys stay engaged? Why? Which of these 3 strategies was Dave using? Make notes on your paper of any ideas you want to use when youth are struggling with an activity. How will you try to keep them engaged? How will you help them solve their problem without doing it for them?
I can see how a child could lose interest in an activity right away if they are struggling and you just give them the answer. They were frustrated, but now the problem is solved, and they can just walk away from it. I think giving youth control is one of the most challenging strategies. How do I give them more control without losing control of the activity?
It is hard. Think about how you can balance your level of involvement so that children have the opportunity to make decisions and actively participate in STEM learning experiences. Sometimes you can do this by helping them solve problems for themselves like Dave did. Another way to do this is providing extra supplies and having the children decide what supplies they will use. Don't let them use everything. Encourage them to take control by making their own decisions.
This was fun. I really liked seeing how different people approach the challenge of keeping everyone engaged. Some of these strategies work better with some activities than others. And some activities don't take as much work at all, like if the children know that they are going to see how real raccoons interact with the project they are building. That was a fun, real-world connection.
That's true. So maybe the bigger challenge is, how are you going to take the regular STEM activity that you have planned for next week and make it more engaging?
And what strategies can you use that are a good fit for yourself and the children in your program? I really noticed different personalities coming through in the videos. Sophie was excited and energetic. Jason was more calm and quiet, but they both were able to find strategies that worked for them.
Let's finish up by devising your own strategy that fits you and the children you work with. Choose an activity that you'll be leading in the next week or two. Write the name of the activity on one side of the index card. Then on the other side, describe your strategy for making this activity more engaging.
Next, share your idea with at least one other person on your team and ask them how they think it will work. Use the feedback to make your plan better. Then, and this is the most important part, actually try this out and see what works and what doesn't work.
If it works, I think you'll have more fun leading activity and the children will have more fun doing it. If it doesn't work, you can learn from what happened and try again with your next STEM activity.
This is a strategy that you can use each week as you're thinking about what you will be leading. Use this process to plan beyond the basics of what supplies will I need and how I manage my team to think about, how can I make this fun and engaging for everyone?